our general transformation of discourse into this end product come from our common interest around fiction and creating narratives that can resonate with our location in the space. So I think that we brought, starting from more an abstract position around sound, we then turn it into writing about a genealogy and our positioning in relation to the mythology and the symbolic gestures that create what the UAL brand is. And so what made us approach to this brand and to this place that we are talking from. And so this way of entering the gates of this space and listen to what is inside of it and see which are the actions that resonate with it and the one that instead are concealed and comes in different times and in different situations. And I think in general, I think this practice is a practice of activation, a practice that can reclaim the sound as a constituent medium of exploration, but also as a soft medium that can be shaped and stretched with our experimental contribution to it. So I think that for me, and what is end up being inside of this group is a way of developing a recursive practice that can question and can be critical in creating collaboratively and maybe generate meaningful and powerful political acts that sometimes are in contrast with the policies that the institution takes, and so they help to give a power to the image that we want to present and to validate us as a student, us as a non-British people that work inside of it, and remind us of the power of talking about ourselves in the space and give us more power to make this happen physically.
What I found really interesting as well with Ultra Red and this whole group in general is how, at least from my background, made me question what could be produced in an art school and if it had necessarily to be limited by what the definition of art is. When the person from Ultra Red was saying that he doesn't necessarily, although he participates in art exhibitions, he doesn't necessarily see his work as art as its first definition. I found that the main questioning that this created around my personal work was around this theme, and also on like how people in contexts of difficulty asked to be listened to, and what strategies did they use to be listened to, if it's through disruption or if it's through music or if it's through storytelling.
For me, I think one of the most interesting things has been the end of it and to what point it has taken us. Somehow it has accompanied also a personal project and a personal situation that I'm going through, and I have been thinking a lot about what does it mean to produce discourse, and specifically like in an academic context, and how it always needs a sort of independency of an autonomy from its context. I think that always takes place in the context of violence and in the context of invisibilizing and to being able to put aside something. And that's why I was quite grateful and thankful to how we have finished it, and like the question that we are asking ourselves at the moment, and ending in this way, grounding our position and our locus and from where we speak and what happened where we speak and what kind of violence there is there.
I also really enjoyed it, and also I found it quite interesting to see how our works all goes towards storytellings and fictions. And for me, the sound is a creating, thinking about other world and other space and a mysteries and fiction, because the sound is you choose the sound to create the space, because the sound sort of represent the bodies, even though human sometimes, because human cannot really hear through the ears, every sound we cannot really catch. There's a sound human cannot catch, so I think through the session, Ultra read, and also some other texts we had looked into, I think I learned there's so much more stories and sound that we need to try to listen to and learn as in active gesture.
And for me, I found how sound can be used to stage a variety of interventions in different settings, whether that's the club, a protest, or academic institutions. From their response, it reveals a lot about how that place functions and how they perceive their position and power.
Yeah, I think as a joyful militant series of seminars, it has actually made me feel very hopeful about the work that I'm doing inside the university. I really felt before doing the seminar that I didn't feel very connected to being a student at UAL, or I didn't feel like I was very connected to the students around me. And it's kind of the way that we've been able to create a space where we can listen to each other and each other's experiences, I think has, given me hope as a UAL student in a way. But yeah, the act of listening to each other in an institution where it feels like the university itself is incapable of really listening, I think has been quite powerful. And I'm interested in how we've come to this conclusion of creating something that's quite anti-UAL. I've just got a quote that I wanted to read. It's from Moten and Hani's The Undercommons, which I think just kind of sums up what this seminar is for me. But it says, a kind of study which is disconnected from credit, individual accreditation, the notion of instrumentalism, from completion, from leading to something directly. That notion of study seems almost impossible in the university, given all of its demands. And yet we know that study goes on. Somehow within the student there resides, despite all of these initiatives, a collective desire to study.